I want to talk to you about the difference between pain and suffering, because a lot of times when we go through transition, there's a way to confuse pain with suffering. And once you understand the difference, I think it's actually going to help you have a different perspective. So pain is usually something that we feel that tends to be a signal, tends to be a distress signal, that letting us know something needs to change. It tells us there's a tension, whether it is pain imposed by others, and maybe the tension that we need to set boundaries with them, whether it is pain we set within ourselves when we have realization. Maybe it is pain that you just realized you are transgender. That is still a signal that is telling you something needs to change. It's an opportunity to grow in a direction you need to grow into. It really is an opportunity, no matter how painful it may sound. Suffering, on the other hand, is actually when you feel the pain and yet you make a choice not to make changes in relationship to addressing that pain. And so you continue to endure a pain, which is now suffering, because you're just deciding for yourself that you're not going to make the choice. A lot of times people say, well, I don't really have a choice. I don't really have any means to transition. So you tell me that suffering is superimposed onto me. No, in that case, suffering is not superimposed on you, but you still can make a choice. You can make a choice to accept that you don't really have any options at your disposal right now. And maybe you can also make a choice to try to go in a direction, to try to find means that will help you alleviate dysphoria, or try to find means, maybe support, maybe it's therapy, maybe it's support group, maybe it's reaching out to somebody else. Maybe it's simple as just working on yourself in order to accept the position you're in, because sometimes the position we're in is going to be very, very painful. But it doesn't mean that it has to be additionally be imbibed with suffering when we're just making the choice. So you always do have some form of a choice, even a choice of how you feel about it. It reminds me of Viktor Frankel book, Man's Search for Meaning, where he talked about being in a concentration camp as a Jewish survivor. And he talked about how a lot of people gave up on living, they gave up on hope, and they were suffering as a result. He chose to change the way he felt about his situation. Now, I'm not talking about negating the reality and having a fantasy about what's going on, not at all. But shifting and accepting the position you're in and making a choice to feel different about it, and making a choice to look at the situation differently. That's what helped him to get through the concentration camp. And so it's kind of the same thing where you have to separate pain from suffering. But a lot of times when you feel pain, try to see it as a signal, as something telling you that there's something in your system, in your coexistence that is in distress, and it's a distress call to address that.